Hello and welcome to House of Cult, brought to you by The Pretty Cult. My name is Alessandro, and joining me is Ariel Salsa, the owner and founder of The Pretty Cult. And today we are so stoked to welcome Lotta, the singer of Finland's own Luna Kills, who are set to release their debut album, DEATHMATCH, on April 4th via Sharptone Records, with whom they just signed with. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Hello, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here
Of
talking with
course.
you.
Of course. And did we say your name right? Lotta?
Lotta, but that's a great way to pronounce it.
Okay.
Everybody
Okay. All
pronounces
right.
it that way, so it's okay. Finnish
I've
is difficult.
no worries. I mean, my name is a little difficult too, so people always pronounce it
Yeah,
different ways too. So I just wanted to make
yeah,
sure for sure.
yeah. It's okay.
Absolutely. So pretty busy day today with press and everything.
Yeah, yeah. A few interviews and mainly the real world work that I've been doing has kept me busy. But
Yeah,
these interviews and everything are like nice way to relax and get off from the mindset. So
absolutely. I think we'll just kind of kick it off from the beginning. I know Ariel had some questions about, your guys' origins.
Yeah, so Luna Kills was formed in 2019. Can you kind of take us back to the early days? When did it all come together? What was the initial vision for the band? And kind of when did you start writing music?
yeah, me and our guitar player Samuli are actually cousins. So we have known each other from our from birth
From
actually.
birth,
So
yeah.
a long time. And we actually formed a different band in 2015 together. I never had been in a band before, and he convinced me to start singing with him in his project. And it kind of evolved into Luna Kills in 2019. Our mission back then was just to get to play live music. We were really passionate, and we still are really passionate about playing live. So we just wanted to make like great music, play it live wherever we can. So that was the vision when we first started, and that was actually the vision when we formed Luna Kills. But we're also really passionate songwriters. So we're just really passionate about music in general. So it's a way of us, like when we were hanging out, that we're going to make music and wanted to make like songs we would want to listen to ourselves. And we just wanted to become better and better songwriters. So the band is about the love for music, essentially, and that's still the case for us.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of like the love of music, like your sound blends so many different genres. There's alternative
Yeah.
metal, there's new metal, electronic influences, and then also being inspired by video game soundtracks, which is super cool. How does this fusion sort of play into the overall sound of the band? And what were some of those pivotal first musical influences for this project?
Yeah, we always joke about the initial influences because we everybody was listening like different types of music. So, like personally, I was into Lana Del Rey in
Cool.
2019, really, really heavy. It's still a big artist for me.
Yeah.
And then our guitarist was like blues guy. He liked blues rock a lot, and our bass player liked Yngwie Malmsteen, so like speed guitar playing. So it was really a mesh of all kinds of music. But we had love for this British band called Muse.
Yeah.
It was really big influence, and we loved the music so much. So it really played a part in our music writing. But like I said, we are really passionate about music and we love different genres. So I think that is reflected on in our music because we just want to write like great songs and songs that we enjoy. So that's something that makes the music the way that it is. We don't shy away from different sort of tones and vibes to the music, and we really want to tell a story with every piece. And whatever the piece needs, it's gonna get. And yeah, we have always also joked that it's probably the biggest struggle that we just cannot stick to one thing,
And that's a
and
good
we're
thing. That's
always
a good thing.
branching out everywhere. And yeah, and the video game influence is really big because we're huge gamers. And especially we all bonded over Mick Gordon. He has done like Doom soundtracks and Wolfenstein soundtracks, and
Yep.
he does really great electronic things, and the riffs are massive, and that's
Oh
something
yeah.
that we are like super big fans of. So that is something that we are always thinking when we are writing, like how would Mick Gordon probably do this, and then we incorporate it
Yeah.
in some way. But
That's so
yeah, we are
cool.
really passionate about gaming and movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks. The instrumentals are like because they are like larger than life. When you are example thinking about like Hans Zimmer, like Dune
Yes.
soundtrack or Interstellar or Pirates of the Caribbean, they are so emotional. He's such a great composer of like melodies that really rip your heart out, like so to speak. So that's something we want to incorporate in our music as well.
That's so cool. I definitely hear the Hans Zimmer elements, like the cinematic moments of your music. That's so cool. And it's funny, like I produce music myself, and this week actually I was like looking up all the ways to like find the same tones as Mick Gordon, like especially with like
Yeah,
programming guitars. Like it's unreal what he's been able to do from a
yeah,
production
he's crazy.
standpoint. It's just
Yeah,
the craziest. I didn't even realize guitars could sound that way. It's the
yeah,
coolest thing
yeah.
ever. It's so cool. And then, obviously the band is from Finland, which has, always been a pretty big hotbed for heavy metal music. But, what was the scene sort of like when you were growing up and starting to play in your first bands? And how has it evolved? Today, and where is sort of the Finland music scene at the present?
Yeah. Well, like you said, Finland has always had a very large metal music scene. And actually, when we were starting the band and when I was growing up, there was more boom of like, hair metal bands. There were
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
lot of like 80s influenced bands, which is really rare. It usually happens in Sweden, but we
yeah,
were having our moment then. And but the metal music is something that does not go away here. Like it may fluctuate from time to time how many bands we have and what the younger kids and teenagers are into, because we also had like the YouTuber period when everybody wanted to
yeah,
be YouTuber and they did that. So there was not so many young people starting bands where in the city that I live in. But now, as of now, we see that there are really the same kind of enthusiasm is returning to the music and to metal music. I think Blind Channel, if you know the Finnish band Blind Channel, they really kicked it because they um, took part in this thing we have in Europe called Eurovision. So that
yes.
was like a big thing. So I think
Yeah.
they really light up the spark in the younger people to really start making metal music again. So now it is going really great here. So that's nice for everybody. But we have always had metal bands, and we always will have them. It's like ingrained in Finnish people.
That's so cool. I wish we had something like Eurovision here in the States, because it is like, I don't know if you've ever watched Eurovision performances, Ariel, but like
I
they're
have not,
the
no.
craziest, coolest things ever. Like it's so
Yeah,
actually, I don't know if you've seen the movie. Have you seen the movie Eurovision? It has Will Ferrell in
Will
it.
Ferrell. Yeah.
So good. It's
I
it's incredible. Yeah, it's an
But
awesome
that's
movie.
basically what Eurovision is.
Yeah.
If you need introduction, just watch the film.
Yeah, that's so cool. Have y'all tried to submit for Eurovision? Like, is that something that you would love to take a part in one day, possibly?
No, it's not for me personally.
Yeah.
We have been we get asked every year. Every
Okay.
year, yeah, everybody like is really pushing us there. But I think personally, I just don't really feel I don't vibe with the competition styles. I mean, the competition in music. It's just not my scene. And I really respect Eurovision and I respect the songwriting. It has really distinct styles of songs that people are writing to it, and it has its own vibe. And I don't think it's our vibe. So I don't, out of that respect, I wouldn't want to go mess around with it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, that totally makes sense. And then, sort of touching on your vocals, they're so distinct, and very dynamic and like you're going from like these like jazz infused melodies to like extremely powerful screams. When did you first sort of discover your voice, as a young kid getting into music? And how has that sort of developed over the years, and how do you tend to maintain it, both in the studio and on tour?
Yeah, well, I've always like been a singer. My parents said that before I spoke, I sang, so I'm gonna believe that. But I've always been really passionate about vocals and singing and performing, and I think I was really fond of like Amy Winehouse back
Yeah.
in the day, and I loved how she was using her voice, and she had this really like rough and edgy vibe to her vocals. And I've also been a huge fan of like jazz singers like Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, Frank Sinatra. When I was starting singing, I started with jazz singing because it's the hardest thing to do
Yeah.
probably for a young person. But yeah, so but I really always had this love for metal music. So I just wanted it to be. I wanted myself to have this like ability to express my emotions in various different ways, and I thought that metal music and rock music was kind of matching my vibe.
Hmm.
So it started with forming the band with my cousin actually, and the live music parts. I started to explore my voice more in live setting because I had more adrenaline and maybe aggression and everything. So I was more fearless when I was performing and to explore my sound a bit. And I actually picked up screaming like 2 years ago. I tried screaming out when I was like 15, and I was so offended by myself. It sounded horrible. So I dropped it completely. I did not do it again. But like 2 years ago, I felt like I need to take this to the next level. I need to something new because I haven't had learned anything like new in ages, and I thought that that would be a great thing to have in your repertoire as a vocalist. So, and I thought our songs could benefit from it, and because I am a storyteller when I'm live and when I'm writing music, I thought that it really would elevate the music. So yeah, I watched a couple of YouTube videos and went from there. And it was really like kind of like hopping into cold water because we are always going live, performing live, I mean. So I had to start doing it like immediately because we released this song called Deep Cuts, which feature the first time ever my screams, and we were going on tour after that. So I just had to start doing it live. So it was like I just had to start doing it. So that's how I got into that. But yeah, I think I've been singing and performing so long that it's the basic maintaining your vocals, that you just don't need to yap so much like in between shows.
Yeah.
And drink what as much as possible, like water and honey and everything like that, and you'll be fine. But yeah.
Yeah. It's like no yelling over the loud noise in like a bar
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
show, or talking
Yeah, and
loud. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
little bit bummer because if you're going on tour with a band you really like, and like if we're opening for some band I really like, and I'm going to see their show afterwards, and then they're like, "Yeah, everybody scream," and I'm like, "No, I can't." And I probably look like a diva or something because I'm there just clapping, like, yeah, it's a little bit bummer, but you cannot do that if you have to
Absolutely.
perform next day.
Yeah.
Speaking of touring and stuff, your aesthetic is very as striking as your voice. And when you're putting together looks for music videos or stage outfits, what kind of inspires you? And I would love to know what some of your style icons are.
That's a hard one. So many style icons. Well, for me, visuals, when it comes to like dressing up or making the music videos or props or anything are really important because I mainly make I make our album covers and like graphic design and merch designs and everything. So it's really important for me, and I have this love for like early 2000s and 90s. I really love the edgy and grungy feel they had going on when at the time, and I think it has come in style now. They're always the trends are like coming back around every now and then. But style icons. Well, I'm really into Bring Me the Horizons whole vibe
Yeah.
and how they, for example, their clothes. I think they have had immaculate style for years now, and that's I really love seeing Ollie Sykes with like his blazers outfits and
Yeah.
everything. I think he dresses up so nice. He's one of my style icons, but I could never pull that off. So I just stick to watching it. But yeah, and also there's big part of it is that you are comfortable as well. So when you are, I'm really, um, energetic when I'm doing live performances. So it's a huge thing to be comfortable when belting and squatting and, doing running and jumping and everything like that. So that's important part. It's not the exciting part, but that's important for me.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to start it, get into deathmatch,
Yeah.
getting into this album, a band typically has their whole lives to write their first album. So I can imagine that Deathmatch was such a labor of love for the band, So I really would love to know what the writing and recording process was sort of like for this album. And how does this album represent who Luna Kills is today?
Yeah, we made the album in a few sessions. We made a couple of songs. I mean, maybe in 3 sessions. We made songs for each session, so we didn't have like the whole album figured out when we started actually recording it, because we have done single releases for so long. We were not actually sure if we were heading in a full length album yet, but I'm glad it came to be. But yeah, like I said, we are really passionate about songwriting. So it's so nice to have all the songs tied together in as a coherent album, because we obviously have different mindsets when we are writing songs. Like in winter time, we might be a little more gloomy than we are in summer.
Yeah.
So, and we were doing this over a period of like 1.5 years or 2 years or something like that. So we had a little bit of this fear that if it's going to be like coherent and if we are going to even like the songs when we're releasing them, because that's a danger in this business. But I'm really glad that we all love the album still, and like it's really rare to listen back to the album and like it as a musician. So that's nice. But yeah, we do the songwriting ourselves and we produce ourselves, and so we did most of the basis of the songs at our home here in Kuopio, and then it's just a basic story. We go to studio and record everything live, and then have the end product mixed and mastered, and then we are going to listen back to it and decide if we like it or not.
That's so cool. So y'all actually produce and engineer like all of your music?
Yeah, we produce it. Obviously, we had a recording engineer do all the recording professionally, and we have a mixing engineer do the end work for the mixing and mastering and stuff. But we
Yeah.
do produce all the electronic and we songwrite ourselves. And like I said, we're really passionate about it. So we just like to, figure out the songs and make the stories ourselves, if it makes sense.
I love that. What is your vision for Deathmatch? Is there an overarching theme or message that you hope listeners will take away from it?
Yeah, deathmatch is really tough and like heavy album when it comes to the lyrics. I tend to write from my own personal life, and this album really touches on mental health issues and like depression and anxiety sorts of things. And it was really therapeutic for me to write it and reflect on my own personal journey and struggles and everything. And I just hope that people who are in the same sort of situations can have something positive from it, and know that they're not experiencing these kinds of things alone, and that there are people going through similar things, and that there is help and resources available for everybody, because it's really I think important subject to talk about, because it still carries a little and it depends, but a lot of stigma when
Yeah,
it comes
Yeah.
mental health struggles. So I think it's really important as well for me to be honest about my own situations. So uh, people who might be listening will know that they are not alone.
absolutely. I mean, you totally see that on a song like Leech, because it does touch
Ugh,
on,
I love that song.
song
By
is
the way,
awesome.
I just need to interject. I think I listened to that song like 3 or 4 times in a row on Friday. Like I love that song. I just needed to interject that.
That's so nice to hear, and that's actually like one of my favorites from the album, and because I think it really portrays the kind of deep, anxiety and like a little bit the hopelessness of being in a really bad situation. And when I was actually recording the vocals for the song in studio, it was really hard for me, because I really wanted it to be perfect, because it was so important. The text, the lyrics were so important to me. And I had really, really hard times getting it, because I'm so I have the bar so high for myself, and listening back to the song now, I'm really glad that I was in such a I had such struggles, and I was so hard on myself, but it's so nice to hear that you have enjoyed the song as well.
No,
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I love the song musically, lyrically, but I can really, when I was listening to that song, and again, I just kept like replaying it, I could really, and not even having spoken to you yet, obviously, I could really feel the emotion in it.
mhm.
And I think that's what I was so intrigued at first, and then I was like, okay, I need to now listen to it again. I got emotional feelings from it the first time. The second time, I was like, okay, I love the music, and then I'm listening to it for the musicality, and then the third time, I was listening to it for your lyrics and stuff. And I just yeah, you can really and it's you could really feel in that song you
Yeah,
and what you're trying to portray. I just absolutely adore that song. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
There's so much raw vulnerability with it, and it's such an important topic that we like to explore the topic of mental health a lot on this show, and it's so
yes.
important to talk about and removing those stigmas. So, I'm kind of curious, like for your own personal mental health, like what have you found that has been the most helpful in that journey, and any advice possibly you could offer to others, that might be struggling at this
Yeah.
moment?
Well, for me, it was actually music and writing. I wrote like poems when I was younger to kind of like relieve myself from the feelings and emotions, and
Mhm.
that translated into music later on. So for me, it was having this creative output for all of the emotions, and I could revisit my own feelings and thoughts later on with the music. So that was something really helpful for me. And I think that every sort of, every form of art can actually be so helpful for people if they're having like mental health struggles. I think art is literally something that can heal people, and obviously talking about it, but I think it's just a way to express yourself, and document what you are feeling and kind of validate it for yourself, because that is something I think it's really important, to the validation that it is real and it is happening and it is okay, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, the validation part is so true in every sense, like completely. And sort of switching gears a bit, the band has signed with Sharptone Records, which
Yeah,
is a massive, massive step, and congrats on that again.
thank
What
you.
excites you the most about this partnership? And, what are your hopes for Luna Kills on a global scale, after this partnership?
Yeah, well, it was really a massive step for us because we have never been signed to a label before, and we struggled a long time to find the right partnership for us, because we do a lot of like genre mashing with our music, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. And as it turns out, it's not everybody's cup of tea in the industry as well. So we really were struggling to find people that could kind of get our music and get where we are coming from and what we want to do. So we're so happy that we are signed to Sharptone, because we really have been liking the partnership we got going on. And obviously, it's a huge deal for us because we can have now the worldwide album release. So the music, it's getting put out to a lot of people outside of Finland, which is great. And I'm just hoping for a long partnership and the possibility for us to create our music with them and grow as a band. And that's the long-term goal for us, I would say.
Absolutely. And like, does that, you know, obviously signing to a US based label, I can imagine you guys have hit Europe very hard touring, but, can fans expect shows in the US soon at some point and in North America?
I cannot say anything to that, but obviously we would love to come, and we actually don't have like booking agency in North America, so nothing has been planned yet. But obviously we would love to come, and US is our second largest market, if we are believing Spotify statics, and we are. So it would totally make sense to come there. So I'm hoping at some point, but nothing has been planned yet.
For sure. Have you ever been to the
Mhm.
States before? Like
No, I
North
have not.
America? Oh
No.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a long way from here.
it's a pretty long way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. We want you to come. I want to come to a show.
Yeah.
So we gotta
Definitely.
get you over here. Um, Women in metal have been breaking barriers, but there's still obviously a lot of progress to be made. From your perspective, what's been positive about female representation in heavy music recently, and what do you feel like still needs to change?
Well, like you said, it has been great to see that women are getting this space in metal music, because for the longest time it was really hard to get your band anywhere, because the labels would only have one, band with women in the vocalist spot, for example, and women get always get pitted to like one genre, which is like female fronted, and
Mhm.
that has been infuriating for me because we we do so many different genres. It's not just one metal that all the women are doing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things, and that is something that I'm always finding infuriating, is that we are like one category, but it's so nice to see that it's not the case anymore. Like in total black and white, it's not the case anymore. And the women are getting like bands with women are getting signed more. That is something that I have seen, and that's amazing. And yeah, I wish that that trend just continues, and women get more opportunities like that. Obviously, there is the discourse that is a women's place in metal or something, some shit like that. I don't know, but that's ridiculous, and I think that the maybe the elitism in metal music is to be toned down a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people enjoy what they enjoy. And and personally, I don't think that there is a wrong way of making music. And there is no type of vocalist or guitar player or drum player or anyone like that specifically signed for like men or something like that. So I think that's ridiculous. But I hope that women are just getting more representation. Women get acknowledged in the scene, and women are taken seriously. That's something I hope.
Yeah, well
Absolutely.
said. Well said.
And just sort of a random question. I read that your guys' music has been featured in BeatStar, like the mobile
Yeah.
video game. That is super cool, and I'm just very curious how that opportunity came about because that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to answer because they just reached out to us.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah,
great.
that's like that never happens. That never happens that somebody just reaches out to us, but that actually went like that. They just message us and asked that if we would have a song that we would like to be featured in this game, and we all mutually agreed upon deep cuts. And yeah, that was wild and that's so crazy. And I still to this day I'm playing the game. It's really cool to have like a Guitar Hero in mobile game form. So that's insane. And it is so funny to go to YouTube and see like Luna Kills Deep Cuts playthrough on BeatStar. It's so fun.
That's
See
awesome.
people enjoying that. Yeah.
For
I
sure.
have a random question, since we were talking so much about video games earlier. What video games are you currently playing?
Ooh, yes.
Currently, I started my probably 10th playthrough of Fallout 4. It's my comfort.
Yes.
And I
Okay.
just watched the Amazon show, Fallout, the TV show, and it's amazing. So I had to start over again. And I'm as well playing Last of Us 2 because the second season is coming. So I'm
Yep.
preparing myself for that. And that is also one of my favorite games and my comfort games, even though it's probably a little bit insane that that game is my comfort game.
No,
But I
it's
really
my
enjoy
comfort
it.
game too. I totally get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's such a great story. I love the storytelling in that one especially.
I'm
I
so
do.
glad.
No, I
Oh,
was gonna
sorry.
say I've with my husband we've played one and two, and I think two is definitely my favorite from a
Yeah,
storytelling aspect for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Same
agreed.
here. That game, there were some people that were divided on the second game. I feel like some people were like, "Oh, it's not as good as the first one." I
Yeah.
totally agree that it's so much. I mean, the first one is a classic, but I do
Yeah.
prefer two, and I'm biased because it takes place largely in like Seattle, where I'm originally from,
Okay.
and it's like scary how close they got it to like some of the areas. I'm like, "Whoa, this is like where I've been. This is crazy."
That definitely might feel like uncanny to visit the places now then and have this like,
Yeah.
flashbacks of the game. But yeah, I think the game, it was really unfortunate for the game because I think it came out when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So people were already like, I remember Neil Druckmann saying that people were already feeling like a little bit down. And if you have played the game,
That's
it's
true.
not going to make it better. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think I think that was a little bit unfortunate for the game, but it was insane storytelling and it really made me feel so much emotions. I love it.
That's awesome. God, yeah. I We love video games here. I'm currently
We
playing
Me
do.
too.
Avowed currently. I don't know if you've checked out
Okay.
Avowed yet.
I
Um,
haven't actually.
it's like Skyrim, but
Oh,
trippier. It's like Skyrim on like an acid trip is how I would describe it,
okay.
sort
I
of.
have to check
That
it
sounds
out.
That's pretty
incredible. Yeah.
awesome. That's super cool. Yeah, just sort of wrapping up here, what's sort of next for Luna Kills? Obviously, the record is coming out on April 4th, but anything beyond that, anything you can share, any hopes and dreams for, the coming year and just everything beyond that.
Yeah, we're actually hitting the road when the album comes out. So we are having a tour in Finland and in Europe as well. So that's something to look forward if you're in Europe.
Yeah.
We are touring in May, and we obviously have festivals planned for the summer and maybe more touring to the fall. But we're also probably getting into songwriting again. We
Cool.
had a little bit pause when we wrapped up the album writing, but now we are we really need to get back on writing some music before we explode or something.
Yeah,
So that's coming. And I just really hope that everybody who listens to the album enjoys it. And yeah, that's something I just wish deeply for.
absolutely. I mean, the album and all the singles are incredible, and I think it's going to resonate so hard with people. And uh, we got to get the band to the States at some point. If there's any booking agents listening right now, please get this band
Truly.
to the States like
Yeah.
as fast as possible. Like, cannot wait to see the band live here, and it's going to be awesome. And congrats on all the success as well too. And
Thank you so much.
it's truly great. And yeah, just thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
No problem. It's really nice that you guys featured me here and nice talking with you. I always enjoy a good chat with gamers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, anytime. Come back anytime. We'll just talk about
Yeah,
video games.
anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing you around soon.